everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sade of twiggynchic. If you do not follow me on Instagram or YouTube, go ahead and check that out. I am here to share with you all my birthing story, which is long overdue. Baby girl is about almost 6 weeks old now, so a little over a month. I'm adjusting to mommy life, so I do apologize for the delay, but without further ado, here is my birthing story. I gave birth to my daughter myself. I delivered her in my sweatpants, and my labor was only 4 hours. I'm not on here to brag or to boast. I'm here to hopefully shed some insight to someone who is trying to get pregnant but who's scared because of the fear of the pain, or to someone who is pregnant and who may be having a rough or difficult time thinking about the delivery part because you think it's going to be painful, and it doesn't have to be that way. I did hypnobirthing, and my experience with that was so good, in fact, that I was in denial that I was in labor until I had the urge to want to push. And at that moment, I knew that, oh shoot, I need to hurry up and get to the hospital, because if not, I'm gonna deliver this baby at home. My contractions didn't necessarily feel like contractions because I was doing, or because I practiced hypnobirthing, and because I was able to tap into that calm, meditative, focused, relaxed state once it happened. I simply just thought I was having Braxton Hicks. I didn't think they were real contractions, and so I didn't take it seriously and kind of just, I just dealt with each urge as it came. And when it did come, I just remembered to stay relaxed, stay calm, to just breathe, be in the moment, be mindful in the moment, and just know that this pain that you're experiencing, it's temporary. It will only last for about 1 minute, maybe a minute and a half, and then after that, boom, it's over until it starts back up again. So keeping that in mind as it was occurring made it more manageable or doable if you think about it in that mindset. So fast forward 4 hours later, I was so relaxed, in fact, that I delivered my baby in my sweatpants as I was walking into the hospital. And I was so calm, in fact, that my husband didn't know I was in labor. The daggone hospital didn't know I was in labor until they pulled my sweatpants down and they saw my daughter just sitting in my pants calm. Studies have shown that babies who were born with hypnobirthing done, they are more relaxed, and I can definitely 1000% testify to that. My baby is one of the most calmest babies that I've ever met. She only cries when she's hungry. She's not fussy at all. When I pushed my baby out, the only reason why I knew that she came out was because I felt her. I couldn't hear her. It wasn't like she started crying immediately as she entered into this world. She was just chilling, and that's because I was calm. I initially wanted a home birth, not only because of COVID, but just because I just find beauty in it, to be able to welcome life into this world in a very familiar place that makes you feel safe and comfortable. But hubby was not going for it for our first child, but I definitely think after the delivery that we had, he may be a little bit more inclined to allowing us to do it for round two. I chose hypnobirthing, and I feel like that is what helped me get through my delivery. While I was pregnant, I had some slight anxiety. It wasn't because of COVID. It was more so just because of the unknown of delivering the baby. So carrying the baby, I didn't find that to be problematic. I felt like that was one of the most beautiful experiences that a woman has the gift and the ability to do. And so to be able to be chosen to bring life into this world was definitely an experience that I would never forget. But fast forward 9 months later, and you're like, oh, this is cute. I carried a baby, but how the heck is this baby supposed to come out of me? Yeah, the idea of that definitely brought a little anxiety to me because of the fear of, again, the unknown. I didn't want to have to do a C-section. I didn't want to have to be induced. I didn't want to have to be medicated by any means, going under any type of surgery, and the fact that it was going to be painful. At least that's what you think, because that's what everybody tells you, right? Okay, wrong. One thing I learned with being pregnant, don't let other people's fears or stories discourage or scare you, because not one person is made exactly the same. One person's experience is their personal experience. That is not your experience. And another thing that I want to share, that mind over matter. Keep that in mind. Say when I was in my second trimester, we started discussing with the midwife. I definitely wanted a midwife. I didn't want a doctor. A reason being for that is because I just found that midwives are more personable, and they are willing to take their time with you, make you feel more relaxed when you're giving birth, versus a doctor who's busy, who's on call, who's seeing hundreds of other patients, and you're just another number. They're there to just come in and get the procedure over as quickly as possible, and I didn't want to be seen as just another number. I didn't want my baby to come as fast as possible in their eyes, because that could mean intervention, and I wanted the least intervention for my pregnancy. Discussing with the midwife on how I was going to give birth, I told her I wanted to go all natural. I just always knew I wanted to have a natural birth. Again, no intervention at all. And she suggested hypnobirthing. And I was like, what the heck is that? So for those out there who don't know what hypnobirthing is, I'm going to give a quick little synopsis about it, but you should definitely do your own research. Hypnobirthing is a meditative guide to relieve anxiety while giving birth. It's helpful for not just during delivery, but it can be used outside of pregnancy, in the real world, when you're dealing with any type of stress or stress factors. It's just like any other form of meditation, only this is guided, and like most meditations, you are fully conscious for this. There is no person there who's going to hypnotize you and make you go to sleep. You are fully awake and functioning the entire time. You're just on the back burner of your thoughts, if that makes sense. So you're just listening to some Zen music, and you have a person who is speaking to you, who is just walking you through how to get into and stay in a relaxed state. I found hypnobirthing to be very, very helpful, because with more research that I did, I realized that the pain that is associated with birthing comes from fear. Okay, so remember in the beginning when I said mind over matter? Well, if you're thinking about how painful the experience is going to be before the experiences even happen, because you're going off of other people's experiences or thoughts or your own perceived thoughts, then yes, it will hurt. And with pain, it is going to make the process take a lot longer than what it should, because your blood vessels are constricting everything, meaning it's tightening everything up and it's not allowing blood to flow. There's less oxygen, which means it's going to take longer for you to dilate. And the longer it takes for you to dilate, the longer it's going to take for the baby or for your labor to start and end. Okay, so the more relaxed you are, the easier it is for everything to open, because you have more blood, you have more oxygen flowing throughout your body. It relaxes your body and your mind, thus allowing the process to be a lot faster. Because this is COVID, I was a little skeptical about going to any type of in-person prenatal classes, so I opted to just find videos through YouTube, which I did find not that many, but I found enough to help me get through training myself into hypnobirthing. And then there was a book that my midwife recommended to me. The name of the hypnobirthing book is called Mindful Birthing by Nancy Bardacke. It is available on eBay and Amazon. Ranges between $6 to $20, depending if you want it new or used. There are other hypnobirthing books out there, but I found this one to be the most simplistic, straightforward, and the most useful. And that book, in combination with the meditated music through YouTube or Apple Music, was a recipe for success for me personally. And another thing that I would recommend is to start your hypnobirthing at the beginning of your 3rd trimester. You can try to do it like maybe a month prior to giving birth, but you want to give yourself ample amount of time to fully be able to digest the process of hypnobirthing. The more practice that you have, the easier it will be for you to go into that meditative state on call or on demand when you need it. For those that want to do hypnobirthing but say that they don't have the time to do it, I often felt as though my time was limited throughout the day as well, but I found it helpful that you could do the hypnobirthing or the meditative part of it while you're doing other things. So while you're sleeping, when you first wake up in the morning and you're trying to get your thoughts together and you haven't quite gotten out of bed yet, spend 5 or 10 minutes and just listen. Maybe while you're cooking, maybe while you're using the bathroom, going to the shower, or actually using the bathroom, brushing your teeth, etc., etc., folding clothes, doing chores. Like, utilize that time, even when you're going for a walk, maybe on your commute to work, home from work, wherever it is that you're going. Just listen to the meditation, and I guarantee it will definitely manifest for you. Back to my actual birthing story. So it started with me urinating, saw the blood, and it wasn't like blood like, oh, you're dying. It was blood like, oh, this could possibly have something to do with labor. About 2 minutes later, the contractions started, and again, I assumed they were false contractions, so I did nothing about it. I didn't have any pain associated with it. And I say it wasn't painful because it felt more like menstrual cramps, and my menstrual cramps normally are located in my lower back. So I thought that is where I would be experiencing the contractions when, if they ever did happen. But my contractions, surprisingly, were actually in my lower abdomen region. I said they were very mild, and so I thought they were Braxton Hicks. And so I just assumed that they were false contractions and didn't really think anything of it, okay? And this went on for about 3 hours, and when I timed it out, they were around like 5 minutes apart, give or take, a little more, a little less, but definitely very doable. Doable in the sense where while I had contractions, I was still able to function. I was actually doing laundry when I went into labor. I tried to just go to sleep or sleep it off since it was around midnight or after, and sleep wasn't really working because my body was just a little agitated. So I just started walking and breathing, and I lit some candles. I turned on my humidifier with my aromatherapy essential oils, and I just went into a relaxed state, or my hypnobirthing just kind of like instinctively kicked in. I didn't really think too much of it. I was just like, whatever this is, it will pass. One of the things that was helpful with the book that I referenced earlier, you just take it as it is in that present moment. It's only for a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then once it passes, you know, you continue doing whatever it was that you were previously doing. So she has several exercises in her book that helps you to be more mindful and be more in the present moment, which will help you when the time comes. And as I was reading these different exercises, not only did I practice it, but I'm kind of thinking like, how easily am I going to be able to access this, or how likely is it to work for me? Let's just say that, especially being as though I was practicing all of this on my own. It's not like I have a coach who's, you know, walking me through to make sure I'm doing this right. But believe me, once the time came, oh, I was 100% like in the zone. Yeah, the contractions were on and off for maybe about 3 hours. I wasn't really necessarily paying attention to the time, just more so timing the contractions to see if they were actual contractions or not. And after they went on for about maybe an hour, I called the OB, and they were just like, oh, well, they're not timed too close together, and you seem like you're managing pretty fine. So if you want to come into the hospital, you're more than welcome to. Or if you want to wait until your appointment, which was 2 days later, then you can wait until then. And I thought it was very manageable, so I told her I would just call back to let them know how I was doing, but I was just going to stay home. Another quick little inside scoop about me is I wanted to labor at home as long as possible. That was another thing that I read in the book is good because it allows your body to be in a more relaxed and calm environment. I didn't want to have white glove syndrome, which is pretty much like when you go into a hospital, your body kind of just goes into like shock because you're scared of, you know, the doctors or possibly going into surgery. Okay, so after this went on for, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 hours, And my husband saw that even though I was pretty relaxed and I was folding clothes and he was like, you know, watching me just to make sure I was fine, he was like, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and get the car ready just in case, because if this is what this may be, I'd rather us be prepared than to not be. So as he's getting the car ready, I'm just breathing through every sensation as it comes. It was important to keep moving. I didn't want to just be idle. When it came, I would do some yoga positions like down dog or puppy pose, even child's pose worked really well. And when that wouldn't help, even going into a squatting motion, like all of those or variations of those helped with the sensations when they did occur. So hubby went and packed the bags. As he's running to go get gas right down the street really quick, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go hop in the shower because I started bleeding a little bit more. Nothing significant where it was worrying me, but you know, blood isn't also normal. So I was like, okay, let me just clean up, freshen up a little bit. And I almost took a bath because I heard, I know, crazy, right? I heard baths are good when you are in labor. But I didn't want to wait forever for the bathtub to fill up. So I was just like, let me go take a shower instead. The water pressure on my back and my body just felt so good. It definitely helped with the sensations. It helped so much that my body just instantly dropped to all fours. Another thing that was important going into labor was to also have the mindset that your body knows how to give birth. Women have been giving birth for hundreds of thousands of years without intervention. But I feel like in every scenario, when you are going through birth, is to just allow your body to be. I mean, of course, unless you are considered high risk, but if you're not in that category, don't be in fear because your body knows what to do. That's with anything in life. Whether you are being held at gunpoint, whether you are taking a test, whether you are afraid of falling, like when that adrenaline kicks in, your body is going to know how to react. So with knowing this, allow your body to do what it naturally knows how to do. If my body felt like it wanted to squat, allow it to squat. If my body said, okay, no, we need to kneel, then kneel. But being in tune with your body definitely helps with giving birth. So I listened to my body. I just dropped to all four. But as soon as I went to all four in the shower, I had the sensation to push. That's when it got real. And mind you, my husband is at the gas station. And I stopped timing my urges or sensations that I was feeling. So I'm in the shower on the floor, not hurling, but you know the feeling like when you have to throw up and you're like up chucking, like your abdominal muscles just like contract. That's what it felt like, but almost like you have to take a number 2 as well. So it's like your abdominals are tightening and you just feel like this urge or this sensation to just like push. And that's when I was like, oh my God. We need to get to the hospital. I'm trying to get out the shower because reality definitely just kicked in. And it was hard to get up off the floor, but I managed. And by the time I got out the bathroom, that's when my husband came home. He helped me get dressed. He walked me downstairs into the car, and it got even more real because I don't know, I guess with gravity, with standing up, you just feel everything kind of like coming down. And I had the sensations again to just push, and this time I'm making sounds like weird grunting noises. I'm not screaming, I'm remaining calm the entire time, but it's like a different type of feeling at this point. It's like no longer are you feeling the urges or the sensations of the cramping. It's a sensation to push, and I know that pushing is associated with the actual delivery, and I'm like, there's no way that this is about to happen right now. Like, it's only been like 3.5 hours. You hear stories about, you know, first time moms delivering, it can be like an all day thing. Like, there's no way that this baby is about to come in only 3 hours. So he puts me in the car. I'm still remaining as calm as possible. I'm breathing. I'm listening to all my meditation stuff. He runs back in the house. He's packing stuff, and I'm not yelling at him to hurry the hell up. It's nothing like you see in the movies where like water's gushing down from your leg and you're like screaming to say like, they're coming, she's coming. It was nothing like that. It was more so just like, you know, it was important for me, I felt like, to just remain calm and remain with my breath. I don't know, maybe like 2 minutes pass. He finally gets into the car, and I automatically just like zone completely out. At this point, I could barely speak. I call the hospital. I tell them that I'm on my way at this point. Then after that, I'm listening to my meditative music still, and I'm just trying to zone out. Like, I didn't want to look as we were driving because that would give me more anxiety about like how long it was going to take for us to get there. So I just figured if I just close my eyes and go into that, you know, happy place, then, you know, that'll help keep me more like focused until we get to the hospital. And it was definitely working, but I could barely sit while he was driving. Like, the pushing only increased, and I was just like, this is so freaking insane. And because I looked so calm, my husband, poor thing, had no idea what was going on. Like, I wasn't squeezing his hand, nothing. He was just like, okay, just gonna get her there as soon as possible. So we get to the hospital, and which was only like a 20-minute drive. He's trying to park in the visitor parking lot. I'm like, no, you need to pull up to the front because I can barely walk. Nobody's gonna tow your car. He helps me walk out the car. As we're walking into the hospital, the urges like increased times 10. Like, it was to the point where every time I felt a pushing sensation, and mind you, another thing that they teach you in the meditation book is that there's an exercise called mindful pooping. And as weird or awkward this may sound, it definitely helped. So it's to have more control as I felt those urges or pushing sensation. I'm controlling my body, so I'm not just trying to push all at one time, because I figured by this point, if I'm pushing, something is going to come out. So let me try to tighten, do some of my Kegel exercises to try to keep it in until I get into the delivery room. That didn't happen, because as I stood up to walk into the hospital, like with each step, a push came, and it was like you're blowing up a balloon. Like, I took a step, you feel the balloon like inflating a little bit, meaning like the head coming out, and then it would go back in, and then you felt another pushing sensation, and then you would feel the head or the balloon inflate a little bit bigger, meaning she was coming out a little bit more, and then I would like try to squeeze my butt to like suck it back in. By the time they got me into a wheelchair, I couldn't even sit. They were trying to register us to get us back into the delivery room, and they're you know, asking us to fill out paperwork and stuff. And at that point, because I felt, you know, a head or something coming out, I'm rushing this lady like, no, 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 we need to be seen like ASAP. I was like, there's something in my pants. And she's like, oh, your water probably just broke. And I'm like, no, like there is a body part down here. Yes, I am 1,000%. There was no water, there was no gush, like I said, like you're at the amusement park, like it was something from a movie. I felt, by the time I got in that wheelchair, I felt like my body had to do like one last push, and with that one last push, I felt a whole being just sitting on the side of my leg. And it's so hard or weird to describe because I felt her come entirely out of me, but it didn't feel as big as you would think. It almost felt like you pooped your pants, but instead of it being poop, it was like a bag with some clothes in it. Okay, weird description, but that's what it felt like. It didn't feel like something like hard and bony and bulky like coming out of you. It just kind of like, ooh, okay, I feel like an inanimate object. The receptionist didn't believe me, but they went ahead and rushed us to the back, and the midwife was there, and they're trying to, you know, usher us back onto our bed in our room, and they're like, okay, so what's going on? And I tell her like, there's something in my pants. I was like, there's something in my pants. So they thought I was crazy too. They try to get me to stand up, and I'm like, I can't stand up. Again, there is something in my pants. Like, why isn't anybody believing me? So they immediately take off my pants while I'm in the wheelchair. There is a baby, my baby, sitting right there between my legs in my sweatpants, not even crying, just being cradled by my thigh, and the sweatpants just sitting there, looking at them, they looking at her, and they look at me in disbelief like, how in the world? So yeah, at that point they just lifted us up onto the bed and just cleaned us off. And that was my birthing experience. I was in such denial that I was in labor because I wasn't in pain. And not to say that it didn't hurt, it definitely felt some type of way, but because of the hypnobirthing, it calmed me. So I believe it made it less hurtful, or it made it appear not as hard or not as heavy on the body as you would think it would be. Had I not done hypnobirthing, I probably would have been crying during the contraction. My anxiety probably would have been up a little bit or more worried, but you know, with the hypnobirthing, you kind of just like automatically go into that focus mode. Like you're on a mission, you're on a task, and that task is just to remain as calm as possible and breathe. And another thing that helped too was just making sure that your body is fully relaxed during the entire process. So you don't hold your breath. You make sure that you're breathing during the entire time. You want to make sure that you're not tensing up at any time either. You breathe through every contraction, and that helps it to seem a little bit more manageable. Make sure your shoulders aren't up to your ears. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed, your fists aren't balled up, and your jaw is relaxed. Believe it or not, you hold a lot of tension in your jaw area as well. But that was my experience. But I did want to give this advice for any mamas or soon-to-be mamas out there, or for anybody who had a birthing experience that didn't go as they planned, because none of them do, to maybe look into hypnobirthing, because I had a good experience, and I believe everyone can have a good experience as well with this method. I just want to let you guys know that there is an alternative out there for you. Even if you decided to do hypnobirthing and still get an epidural, like, I'm not here to advocate and say to go all natural, because that's not for everybody. I just want to share this story to give inspiration or to give hope to people out there that being or going into labor and having a baby does not have to be this monstrous, painful story that everybody, or that most people, draw it up to be. It can be beautiful, and it can be less painful, but you have to train your mind to get there. And hopefully with these tips or with the story that I shared, that it will help you get there. Always seek professional advice and guidance first, which is not me, because I'm not any one of those. Always, always, always do your research, especially if you're a young mama or a person of color, because you have to be an advocate for yourself. You have to know what you want and what you don't want when you walk into that hospital, when you go to your appointments, because they may not always have your best interest at heart, which is unfortunate. But if you know what your rights are, then they can't tell you anything else. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. But hopefully this video finds you peace. Hopefully it's of help to someone out there.